Hey there guys, it's Anthony here from Cutting Edge Guitar, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about exactly how do you practice the legato technique. Let's get right into it. Okay guys, this question has come from some of my subscribers over at Cutting Edge Guitar. If you want to help support my channel and ask questions that I can answer for you over here on my YouTube channel, consider becoming a member at Cutting Edge Guitar, where you can ask me anything you want and I'll get involved and help you out here on YouTube. So this question has, as I say, come from one of my subscribers, and it's a technique that I get asked about a lot because I've done a lot of work on this technique in my various tuition products. So the first things that I ever published were my guitar tuition books, the High Intensity Guitar Technique book series. Since then I've turned Cutting Edge Guitar into a complete online learning platform. So I have advanced courses, members areas and all this sort of stuff. And throughout the tuition material that I've put in there, I've done a lot of emphasis on the legato technique. There are four main areas that I personally think are the most important areas for all guitar technique, which will be legato, alternate picking, sweep or economy picking and tapping. Obviously they are the things that make up the mainstay of my personal technique arsenal as well, which is why I put so much emphasis on them. They were the things that I wanted to be able to do. But the legato technique for me is the obvious place to start a technical program of learning, because you're working predominantly on the left hand. And the thing is, how should you go about practicing it? So I just want to get straight into this really. The way that I take my approach, whether it's in the books or any of the other things, or even if I'm working with someone one-to-one in the studio, whatever, how I go about it is like a three-stage learning phase. Is that what you really want to do first and foremost is learn some cyclical exercises that will just build up your fluency and your speed and things like that with the technique. So I generally start my learning platform programs with this, with 16th note stuff, and then moving on into like sextuplet stuff, things like this. So there's two exercises that you can do straight away. So it depends on what fingers you want to use with these. I'm doing this around sort of like the A Dorian position 1 shape of the cage system, or you can think of this as 3 notes per string. If we go that way down the neck. But what I'm basically doing, 16th note wise, I'm pulling off 8, 7, 5. Then I'm playing 8, 7 on the B string, doing a hammer on back to that 8th fret, then I'm doing 5, 7, 8 on the high E, and then cycle from there. Now what I'm doing picking wise with that, I'll pick the first note, then it's pull off, pick the note on the B string, pull off, hammer, pick the note on the high E string, hammer, hammer, and then cycle from there. So the picking is there just for the string crossing really. Now if I do a sextuplet version of this, groups of 6 note per beat, something like this, with an exercise like that, what I'm doing is I'm putting the A, the 5th fret on the high E string, on the downbeat. So what we're going to do is we're going to hammer 7th, hammer 8th, pull off back to the 7th, pull off back down to the 5th, and then play with a pick the 8th fret on the B string, and then cycle from there. So re-pick that 5th fret on the high E, and then we go from there. Okay, so that's the sort of thing that I would do for cyclic exercises. As I say, there is hundreds of them in my book series. There's loads of them with supporting videos in the members area at Cutting Edge Guitar. There's also an entire program for this on the Advancing Guitarist course, which is at Cutting Edge Guitar as well. So if you want more of that sort of thing, check those sorts of things out. Check those products out, shall I say. Now, if you want to, how I would go about expanding into the next element of this, once you've got your cyclic positional exercises down, the next thing that I would start doing is working on ideas that move along the length of the neck, something that I call linear motion. So let's say if we were to do another sextuplet pattern, something like this. If I stay with A Dorian for now, what the idea with this will be to do, you might have practiced an exercise like this in position, so just building up the speed like this. Once you've done that, to open up the fretboard, you want to start taking this through the different positions of that scale, like this. Now, if I play that up to speed, it will sound something like this. Sorry, I'm going to do that in A Dorian. I did that in A natural minor there. So now the thing is with this, all I'm literally doing is taking that single cell exercise and moving it to different positions of that scale along the length of a string. I would be aiming to be able to do that on different strings and in different keys and in different scales. There's lots of different ways to practice that. Again, I've put so much of this in all of my different various learning materials. But if you are someone who's comfortable, like know your fretboard inside and out, and you get the concept there, just start taking all of your favourite ideas and then just move them up along the length of strings along the neck. Now finally, the way that I look at doing these things is to use an approach that I call combination playing. So I say I call it combination playing. I've heard other people call it combination playing, but it's a particular phrase that I think made a lot of sense. So the three ways that I think on the fretboard is you play positional concepts, linear concepts, and then finally, if you want to combine the fretboard and just go wherever you want, that's what I call combination playing. So the opening little thing that I did on the on this video here, that was kind of like a combination concept. So it was still being done in A Dorian, but what I'm basically doing is playing a little bit of a positional idea. Then I'm sliding along into different positions. And then I'm going into like linear stuff. I can't remember exactly what I played on that, but basically I'm just full rolling, and what that means is if you start low, go high, come back to where you started, that's full roll. But what I'm doing is if I'm starting on lower strings, working higher up the fretboard, combining different scale territories and moving along the neck, I'm combining things. Now you could take that even further and you could start all the way really low and work your way high like this. So I'm sort of going that way, and I'm starting to now come back on myself as well. See what I'm saying? So I can start at a high point and then work all the way back, and then you can just go in and out of the fretboard all like this. So with that, at that point, you're not really practicing exercises as such, you're practicing runs. So this is what, start low, work high, start high, work low. To get to a point where you can do that stuff though, you need to have built your positional technique and then be able to go in and out of scale shapes along the length of the string and then finally put it all together. So in basically 10 minutes I've just talked through how you would go about doing that. The thing is, the amount of exercises you need to do in there quite vast, and also there's one other really important ingredient that I've not talked about here, and it's not about how fast you can move your fingers, what your technique's like, what your muting is doing, all your picking and all that stuff. It's the number one problem with this, before moving your fingers around and that, is not knowing your fretboard. So the only reason that I can play flowing legato lines that are moving along the fretboard like this is because I know where the notes of the particular scale it is that I want to use are. And yes, I'm using scales here. So one of the things that I put in a recent video that I've done is, are scales important? And Yes, they are. And this is one of the things that you're seeing out on internet land at the moment. There's lots of people out there trying to tell you, oh, you can play great guitar solos without knowing scales. Well, can you? Probably not. That's the unfortunate truth. So, yeah, if you want to have great technique and you want to be able to do all of this stuff, there's some ideas on ways that you would practice these things. But another really important thing that I would say to you guys is that it's not just about how fast you can move your fingers. You've got to know where you're going to go on the fretboard as well. And I'm just doing these things in sort of A Dorian here, but you want to be able to do this stuff in all the different modes, in all the different keys, over whatever the backing track or band or whatever it is that you're doing, you're playing with. You want to be able to play these runs and do your thing. So there we go. Anyway, that is my answer on how you should practice legato. The thing is, it's not a one exercise thing. You need a program. You need something to work through, and it's got to be logical, it's got to be structured, and it's got to be targeted. Okay guys, that is it for this lesson. So if you want to support me, remember you can become a member of Cutting Edge Guitar, and you can come and ask questions that I can support here. I can answer here even. All my technique books are available for digital download at Cutting Edge Guitar. I've got advanced courses, monthly membership lessons and all that stuff. Check all of that out. And if you want to just get involved and see exactly what I'm doing with no cost, no obligation, my free Cutting Edge Guitar Masterclass will show you the exact journey that I take my students on to take them from mediocre levels of playing up to really advanced. All the links for that are in the description. So there we go guys, take care, I'll see you in the next lesson.